What's good, YouTube? It's Mike, and welcome to part 2 of destroying or repairing my A7S II, whatever you want to call it. So I am basically redoing what I already did and taking this thing back apart. It's fully assembled now, but give me a sec. It's fully assembled now, but I gotta take it back apart because I forgot to actually plug in one of the cables. So if you didn't see before, this is what my camera looked like. So it was in a couple of pieces. You got the main board here, you got the grip, this is the top half, this is the cable assembly that I replaced, which I have here, and let's see, yeah, just more pictures of that. But you can see this cable assembly is what I had to replace. This is how much it was tore down. And I'm thinking that this cable here that my mouse is by is the one that I plugged it in, but I didn't shut the door on it. So basically the battery grip is not working. And this is like a little video of it. But yeah, that thing was a pain to get off. So if you watch the other one, the way you got this top part off is you actually have to just kind of wiggle it off. There's nothing else holding it in other than the screws behind the viewfinder, which you can see up here. So let's jump back into this. Oh, not you. And this is the 16 to 35 on the EOS R. It's kind of in the way, but it doesn't really matter. EOS R. So let's go ahead and just start taking it back apart. But before I do that, let me show you that it's actually working. So before, the only buttons that worked were C1, C2. The mode dial worked. This worked. The ones here, C3 did not work. Your view or review button didn't work. C4 or delete button didn't work. Record button didn't work. The spinny wheel did not work. Only the center button and this button here. So pretty much all the buttons didn't work other than just kind of the ones on the top right here. And it all had to do with this cable assembly. And I'd sent it into Sony, and Sony told me what was wrong with it, and I just bought the parts instead of paying them. But you can see that C3 is working now. The review button's working now. The delete button, which is set to my picture profile, it's working now. AF, MF button's working, and the record button, so if I hit record, it records. The only thing that I'm having a problem with now is the mode dial. Only 1-2 custom, manual, shutter speed priority and aperture priority work. Anything from P to movie mode doesn't work, but my custom 1 and 2 are my movie modes, so I can pretty much still access that. And I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it has anything to do with my installation. I think it has to do with the part. I think this part here, this is the one that came out of my camera, but I think the one they provided me was most likely off of another camera. And this mode dial selector thing here is probably what's wrong with the one I installed. So I plan to hit them up and probably ask them if they can send me a different one. Though it's been a while, so they probably won't do it. Let me look on my chat. Do the drop, really. This ain't disassembly, bro. But yeah, the thing that's not working is the battery grip. So on the battery grip, you have these little prongs here. The battery connects here, but it reads the grip with these prongs. And that is because there's actually a, you can't see it, but there's a band connector here on the side in here. And this slides in, and it can't read it because that cable didn't get plugged back in all the way, and the door didn't get shut. So now I have to take it back apart and do that. But I mean, I've done it so many times now that it shouldn't be that much of a hassle, honestly. And I mean, this is kind of just a test live stream again, but maybe it'll help somebody who needs to take their camera apart and then come back and watch this. So take that out. I think last time I forgot to take the memory card out. Take out the memory card. Pop the lens off. Alright. Body cap. Make sure the battery's out for sure. Put all this shit to the side. And actually labeled my bolt thing here because I lost track of which screws went into where, and I just had a really good guess at it. So the first things are, you have to take this viewfinder thing off. Just slides up. Make sure you have a nice screwdriver set like this one I got. And then I also have, where'd it go? Oh, it's in here. I also have this little magnetized screwdriver because this magnetizer thing doesn't really work all that well. And you also get these things here. Because it comes with these pry bars as well as some tweezers. So these tweezers come in handy when you're pulling cables. I'm hoping I don't have to take this thing all the way apart again. I'm pretty sure I don't. I just kind of got to get the screen off and all that stuff. So we're going to start here. So the viewfinder diopter, you just unscrew this screw. And that'll come off. So viewfinder, nope. And these 4 screws here go to the viewfinder. And it's hot up in here. Hot, hot, hot. Let's see. And the viewfinder has to come off because it has a little wedge on the bottom that interferes with the back plate coming off. So I'll just end up taking it off first. Not really that hard to get it off. But yeah. I actually ended up losing a screw last time. And I vacuumed in here and I still didn't find it. But it wasn't that big of a deal. You can probably buy those screws anywhere, like eBay. Then here for the screen, this little back plate here, you want to pop this off first. It just kind of, oh no, it's on the other side. It's right in here. You just kind of want to grab it. Slide it up and it comes off. It comes off. And that just releases this cable. Now if you've never taken this off, there will be some tape and you'll have to pull that up. But mine's been removed a million times, so not much of a problem for me. And we'll take these 4 screws off here. There's 4 screws, 2 here, 2 there. This part you want to be careful with so that you don't rip out your screen LCD. Because the ribbon cables, if you pull these ribbon cables the wrong way, they'll break. Pretty easy to. And just about, I mean, all the things that I've priced, other than like the full top assembly, just about every part you think you could buy on eBay is like 50 bucks. At least. Don't want to lose the LCD screws though, they're like really tiny. Do it a drop. Nah, fam. Alright. Now once you got this out, you're going to want to close it. Flip it over. Again, yours would be taped up here. Mine's been removed, so it's not going to be really taped. And there was probably an easier way to get to this point, but don't know why I did it that way. You're going to need your tweezers again. You can grab this little thing right here. Kind of pry it out. It goes like left or right. Pops up. Now I can increase the exposure here, but it's gonna jack with the white. But I don't think that's that important. As long as the camera is lit. And then for this cable, there's a door on here as well. So you want to pop the door open. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Is there a door? Looks like there's a door, but maybe not. Let's find a flathead. Find me a flathead real quick. Well, I mean, I can use the tweezers. I'm just really paranoid about using the tweezers on stuff. There we go. Got it. Because the tweezers can scratch stuff. So there goes the screen. The screen is off. That's pretty simple. So if you need to do a screen replacement, that's all it takes, really. Super simple. Okay, for this part, you probably want to start here, but I didn't. And this is the bottom plate. There's 2, 4, 6, 7 screws here. It's like one of those things, once you've done it a lot, it's just easy. I don't even have to look at the instructions now. I've done this about 4 times. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let's just go to camera. There we go. I think this thing only goes in one way. And you actually don't even have to take this all the way out. You could just take out these 3 screws and the back plate would slide off, but it does make it a little easier if you take them all off. You don't have to remove this though this time. Not for what I'm doing. 1 screw here. This is just gonna go under random screws. Bruh. Okay. Screw does not want to go where I need it to go. That's cool, we'll just stick it over here. Let's see what else. 1 here. I believe I do have to hit this one here. I don't know if it's required, but let's take it out anyway. There are some in the battery door, but I honestly think that just holds on the top piece. Okay, this is being a pain. That's where the tweezers come in handy. Where the tweezers will come in handy. If it don't come out, I don't care. Alright, maybe we don't need it. We'll find out. We will find out for sure. These 2 here. I think when I was doing this, there were a couple of screws that I could not figure out how to get them out. Well, I got the screws out, I just couldn't figure out how to get certain things out. But if you're having trouble with any of that stuff, on my other video, I kind of figured out where those screws were and how to get certain things out. Because there are some things that are tricky that you can't really, it doesn't make sense, but it's the way it works. These screws don't want to come out though. That's probably more annoying than losing a screw. There we go. There we go. Alright, we're going to find out if we need this one out or not. But before we do that, you just kind of want to grab it over here. So it may have been broken, but it's all good. Just don't pull this thing too hard. You don't want to rip that cable. There we go. So I'm going to be checking all the cables, but this is the back plate that we just took off. It's a piece of plastic. None of the buttons are actually attached to this. There are like the outsides of those buttons, but that's it. So this thing, the things I gotta get off now are, I at least have to take this cage off to get to that cable that I'm needing to get to. So the cable I'm trying to get to is, it actually runs back here, goes under the card reader, and connects to the side. And I'm pretty sure that I could see from the video that I did when I was putting it back together that it was unlatched. So that's why I'm thinking that's the issue. So first I'm gonna, oh, and also make sure you always touch something and get the shock off. One sec. Here we go. Yeah, you don't want to like rub your feet on the carpet and then touch something electrical. It can damage the electronics in it. So you always got to make sure that you're like touch something and just make sure that, you know, when you touch something and it shocks, you don't want that to happen. Alright, let's see here, if I remember correctly, there is a screw down there, there's a screw here, and there is a screw, I'm pretty sure down there somewhere, yeah, between that button. So let's take all this stuff off first. So these are easiest where they don't have any type of door holding them on. Just kind of pry them off. So that's part of the cable assembly that I replaced right here. And we'll take these 3 screws off. And this magnetizing stuff's not working. Button assembly. Worst thing you can do is probably lose a screw inside of this thing. Because I don't know how you'd get it back. Just honest. Being honest. See, same thing here. Like, there. It finally worked. Finally magnetized to something, huh? Okay, and this bottom screw was the thing I couldn't figure out before. There's literally only 3 screws holding on this, what I'm going to call button assembly. It's like a cage / button assembly. So we have to cut right up. Okay, maybe we do have to take this one off. This side. Hopefully I'm not forgetting a screw. Let's see. Oh, this should come right off. It's going to take some wiggling to get it off, but... Ooh. There with that screw. My dog is in here and he smells. Prince, you smell. You smell, boy. What was holding this on last time? Oh, okay. So you gotta move this door out of the way, and then it comes up. That door, for some reason, just no clue why. Okay, I think with that out of the way, that's your button assembly. With that out of the way, I think all I need is this card reader, which is working, luckily. Again, these little doors, make sure you flick them up. Once they're up, you can pop the cable off. And the card reader, for some reason, last time I took out these two screws, not knowing that it's literally only held on by this screw here on the front. So if you had an SD card reader fail on this camera, or SD card port, I should say, you can actually just take out this one screw, and that's it. So that's the card reader right there. That's pretty easy to get to. So if this thing fails, I don't know how much they are, but pretty easy to replace. Now there is another screw, but that goes through from the bottom plate, and that's how it's held on. So this is what we got now. So I was hoping that I could get to this screw without taking, this cable without taking the heatsink off, but this is the cable I need right here. Actually, this one here. Oh, I think I can get to it. So it's under here. Let's pop this back. Let's see. I think I can get to it. I would love to check all the other cables, but it's going to take a lot more time to do all that. Take that one out. Let's pry this up. Pull this tape back. Yeah. So this is the cable that goes to this band right here that plugs into my thing here. What are you gonna call it? Battery grip. So right now you can see, you probably can't see, but the latch on this is not latched down, which means that it's not making contact with the board, which is making a ton of sense why it doesn't work. Now the heatsink is not that hard to get off. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. I think I might do it just because peace of mind that I've checked all the cables. So let's go for it. Might as well. Don't want to put it back together and have to take it apart again. I don't think the heatsink was that difficult to get off. Actually it was, but that's because it was my first time taking it off, and I could not for the life of me figure out how or what screw was holding it on. Boom. And the other one is here. So the other screw is right here under the headphone jack. Again, a screw that's being very difficult. There we go. Now, will the heatsink just come off this time? Yes. Alright, so that's the heatsink. Boom, boom. So I'm going to go ahead and check all these cables, even the one that goes to the mode dial controls. All of them look to be latched. Everything seems to be latched down and in place. Other than the whole reason I took this apart. I can't believe I just forgot to do that though. That's like mind-boggling. And I was also looking at the mode dial one to make sure that I got that seated right. So I didn't leave any questions that it was seated and that's why it didn't work. But it doesn't make sense. I mean, if it wasn't seated, I don't think it would work at all. So yeah, just make sure that this one here gets latched. And we should be good to go. Like that. I do also want to make sure it's purely in there. Okay, I got it back up. It doesn't look like it's all the way in there either. I wonder if I can just take this part off, but it connects around the side over here. Yeah, I can't. So I'm going to try to latch this and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then I would have to take this whole grip back off, take this piece back off, and then I could reseat this entire cable. Let me try to do this. It's hard to see. One of those magnifying glasses. And I mean, that may be why there's tape on here, because there are exposed pieces of the cable, it looks like. Alright, anyway, we'll just go with that. Closed it down, and now we'll just put it back together. Which should be easy, but who knows. Who knows? It's always easier said than done, huh? Make sure I didn't forget anything. Let's get it. Make sure all this stuff is seated right. Where does this go to? I don't know. Maybe it's under. Anyways, it's latch now. Let's get this done. There are little tabs that help you align these things in the body, so that's pretty good. Make sure you cover this one back up. This one here is actually in here. I'll start over here on the right side. Heatsink. That's not that one. It's these three here. Whew. Let's go to camera only. Oh God. Do I need the magnetized screwdriver? Magnetized. Alright, so I got that cable put in. Now we just need to finish this thing off. Can't see this. What's that? What you need? What you need, dog? There we go. Heatsink is back on. Now to put all this stuff back, because I don't remember how it was, honestly. I'll just push back down in here. Alright, so this cable went down there. It then got pushed back here and into the body. This is where tweezers come in handy as well. You can actually use them to hold the cable into place. I'll let you out, give me a sec. My dog is extra as hell. I know y'all probably can't see any of this, but okay, bro. Probably can't see any of this. One sec. Get out. Alright, I'm back. And let's see. What's up? I gotta plug back in this cable. This cable goes to the actual LCD. Plug that one in, shut the door on it. Good as new. And again, I was over here. This piece of tape that I took off goes on top of this thing. I assume to block that. Now we gotta put this, oh, almost forgot the SD card reader. SD card reader back on. It's just that one screw right here. It took me a minute to figure out how to get it back in here earlier. Last time. There we go. Card reader. Got that screw right here. Ooh, don't do it. Oh man. Let's go. I need one of them magnifying glasses. This will make this a lot easier. Whoa. Now we just need to plug up the cable to the SD card reader. Make sure we latch it so we don't have to do this stuff again. One thing about these cables is I never know when they're actually in. I just take a good guess, kind of push it in, and then you're like, okay, it won't go in there no more, and you just latch it. I don't know if it has to be exact, but it has to be at least close enough to make contact with the board for it to work. So that was easy. Now we got to come back and put the button assembly back on. And that's also pretty simple. You just drop it in. Make sure you thread this through. The hardest part is getting it on the inside. You get it around all this stuff. And once you get it in there, it should be good to go. Alright, that side went in there, pretty simple. I'll fight with this side. I think it just has trouble clearing the SD card reader. I'm going to pop this side on first. I don't want to force it. There's a little slot here. Yeah, there we go. There's a little slot here on the side of the grip. If this has a slide into it, it won't go. Same thing over here. It's a slot. Boom. That's back on. And let's screw it down first, and then we'll plug these cables back up. So button assembly. I remember I took one of these off. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this one goes on the bottom here. I think. Don't quote me on that. Button assembly. Take these 3 screws. Use our magnetized screwdriver because that other one's going to cause me to lose screws. That's how I lost my screw last time. Is that screwdriver didn't hold it very well. Alright, next. We'll go over here. Alright. The last one is over here on the top right. You know what? I might swap these. This is a smaller screw, and I don't think this one's supposed to be this long. Like I said last time, I kind of lost track of the screws a little bit. Are they same size? They're the same size, bro. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. I got this little screwdriver from a cell phone repair kit from back in the day, fixing iPhones. So it's not like this is the first thing I've ever taken apart. If you're comfortable with working on stuff like this, go for it. If not, maybe pay somebody to do it. That's all I can say. I don't know if this thing's aligned or not. It is. It just looks weird. Okay. So this cable here, it has these little nudges here. You have to align it between these nudges, plug this in, and then this record button just kind of sits on these, on this one here, so that you can put the back plate back on. Pop this one up. Hold it back. Line these up here. My dog is barking. But that's cool, whatever, I guess, huh? Plug that in. I am kind of glad my record button works now, because before I kind of remapped C1 to my record button, and now I don't have to do that. So once those are all good and seated, this switch, you want to make sure it's in the down position. So it has down and it has up, I believe. Not this one, okay. This one, you want to make sure it's down here, because you can push it up or down. Make sure it's down when you put it back on, otherwise it won't be aligned right. We'll just feed this cable through here and press it down. You won't hear any kind of pops or anything. Just make sure it's seated everywhere and you can press the buttons. Because if the button's not seated right, you won't be able to click it. I know the record button seems a little weird. I'm going to try to take that off. Let's try it again. That's better. Alright, so let's try to get these in here. Did that come off of that? I think it did. Okay, we'll fix it. It's all good. So the random screws is what I kind of call these. Start this top right one. This record button one sometimes doesn't align right. Just gonna make sure that's lined up right first. Alright. Then I'm gonna go all the way to the other side. I want to say the shortest one goes here. And you got two here. Which is top right. Okay, now it wants to focus. Top left. Did we ever get this one in? We did. And you got two more on the bottom here. I believe that's where they go. Yeah. Two more on the bottom. Yep. It's all good. This camera's been dropped by somebody that's not me, I'm pretty sure. Also don't have a battery door. It was there when I bought it, and then I let it go with another camera. So, don't really need it though, I got a grip. Pop this one in. Why you kick Prince out? Prince was crying, he wanted to be out. What do you mean? He kicked himself out. So this one that I put in here has to come out. because it goes through this plate first. I don't know why I kicked Prince out. You couldn't hear him probably. He was crying. He was crying, bro. Alright. What I'm gonna do is probably this bottom plate first. Which I don't know why, but it doesn't look seated right. Definitely not. Alright, let's take this back off. I wonder if I was supposed to put this on first. That'd make a lot of sense. No, I just gotta make sure it clicks in place. I was trying to stand this up like this last time, it didn't work. Alright. Yeah, loosen this up. See how it's a little flimsy? What I'm gonna do is pop this on. Pop this left one in first. Ooh boy. I don't know, you gotta have steady hands to do this. And I'm not sure I have that anymore. A little bit, not a lot. Not a lot. My dog is out here barking now, steadily. Steadily. He barking at nothing though. Oh snap. Almost lost that screw. Yeah, I was just trying to make sure these live streams work without a hiccup, try to get the settings right because they're really tricky. I think I got it figured out on the YouTube stuff for the live stream, so I can actually live stream something that's actually beneficial. This doesn't really help everybody. This is someone who may or may not be looking for this type of stuff, who wants to be crazy and take their camera apart like me. Then that's probably you. But otherwise, not everyone's crazy enough to take their camera apart. I could have paid Sony $300 to fix it for me, but I didn't want to do that. Viewfinder. There's a piece of glass up here. Don't lose that. I'm just gonna pop this right back on. The screws. I left the screws in here. And if the battery grip doesn't work, still, not a big deal. I can use it sometimes, but sometimes if I'm recording like YouTube videos, I can't use the battery grip anyway because it's too large to put behind the teleprompter. The teleprompter kind of takes up a lot of space because it's got, I don't know, the way you mount the camera to it, it just doesn't allow for you to have a camera that's really high. So let's say you had a 1DX Mark II, you tried to use this teleprompter I have, you probably couldn't use it because the lens would probably hit on the top of the glass. So it's not made for taller cameras. Alright, pop this back on. Take a sip of water. And now it's time to put this screen back on, which is really fun. Not. So we know that it goes this way. So you want to make sure you pull the bracket out a little bit. And it's going to bend out this way. And you're going to place it in there and then pop the clamp back down. Because if you don't clamp it, it may not work. I was probably more nervous replacing the screen than I was replacing anything else. And this requires a lot of light, so I need to move over here. So I like to straighten this cable out because it has a little bend in it, so I can hook it up, and then you can just bend it right back. Alright, got the cable in there. Because I was scared I was going to break this cable. Make sure you clamp it down. Okay, it is clamped. So you're going to gently try to lift this up a little bit. You're going to fold it over. And I would suggest that you first screw this bracket back down. Oh, hold on. Missed a step. Fold it back over. Take this little piece here. If you can pick it up. Take this little piece here and put it back on first. It just drops down. I like to put it on the this side first. This literally just covers up the cable. I'm having trouble seeing it because I have an EOS R in my face. Okay, there we go. And slide it to one side. Ah, come on. It's kind of tricky. Once it's in there, it's like, it's in there. It's not going nowhere. So fold it over. Kind of pull this bracket out a little bit without pulling the cable. And then pull the screen up. And then put the screws back into this screen mechanism first. Alright. Oh, don't lose. I have an extra bottom plate screw. Oh yeah. Totally missed it. I'm glad I labeled my magnet tray because otherwise I would have been like, okay, what does this screw go to? That's one thing about taking stuff apart. You never want to have any screws left over. That means you forgot to do something. And that happens to me all the time. Hell, I can be building furniture, and when I'm done, I'm always got something left over. I'm like, is this extra, or did I just forget to screw something in? Alright. Boom. Now you're going to pull it out. And this little thing literally is just going to, you put it the right way and you just slide it down and it pops in place. So you're probably not going to be able to see this because I just need light to do it. Pop it down there and boom. Just slides in. That just keeps the cable held on. Alright, last screw of the evening. I need to add tags and shit to this video description so that people can actually find it for what its purpose is. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is pop a lens on here. Oops. 28mm. And then I'm going to pop a battery in here. So it's come on, it still works. Okay. Test 1 is fine. Test the card reader, make sure that it still works. Card reader still working. I want to test the mode dials, see if maybe I accidentally fixed those. Nope. Mode dial still the same. Completely fine though. I'm okay with that. last test is to see if this actually fixed the battery grip. It'd be so nice if they had like extra mode dials on here. I know that's like being extra and all that, but if there's like an extra set of mode dials on this grip, that would kind of alleviate some issues you have with your camera. So last time it wouldn't even turn on with the grip. Now let's see if it does it. There it goes. Yeah. I knew that's all it was. I knew it. See, nobody told me. I had to just guess. I was like, hey, it worked before. It worked before, so it had to be something that I did. But all the buttons work now. Dope. Yep. Alright, so it looks like I've successfully fixed this camera. Replaced this really difficult to replace top assembly here, which goes here. This is where it goes. Replace the screen, replace this button assembly, and I mean everything works. The only things that don't work on this camera now are P, I don't use, which is program. I don't use auto, I don't use scenes, I don't use panoramas, and the movie one is not that big of a deal because I have 1 and 2 custom set to movie, and I can pretty much do everything with this camera now, which I'm gonna need tomorrow when I shoot a Sweet 16. So yeah, I'm just happy it's working again. I will try to get another cable and maybe fix it completely. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and yeah, if you found this video helpful, just leave a like or comment, whatever. And hopefully if you're trying to fix your own camera, this helped you out some.